Before there was anything at all, no sky, no land, no trees or animals, not even time itself, the universe was an endless expanse of darkness. Silence covered the deep waters like a thick blanket. There was no light, no movement, and no sound. It was a mystery waiting to unfold, and within this mystery hovered the Spirit of God, gently moving over the surface of the deep. In this stillness, God had a plan, a vision of beauty and life that would soon be revealed. God was about to create something wonderful, something that had never existed before, a world full of light, life, and love. In the midst of this profound quiet, God spoke his very first words, "Let there be light." The moment he spoke, light exploded into the darkness, filling every corner of space with a brightness that was pure and brilliant. For the very first time, the universe saw light, and it was radiant, bathing everything in a golden glow. Darkness was no longer the only thing that existed, light now had its place. God smiled at what he had made and saw that it was good. The light and darkness danced together, but they were different. So, God separated them, giving each its own time. He called the light day, and the darkness night. Evening came, and morning followed. The first day of creation had ended, and already, the world was different. On the second day, God looked at the waters covering everything and knew there was more to do. His next act of creation was to bring order to the waters. Once again, he spoke with the same calm and powerful voice, "Let there be a great expanse to separate the waters below from the waters above." And so, the sky appeared, arching over the world like a vast and endless blue canopy. The sky was clear and beautiful, stretching from horizon to horizon, reaching into the farthest edges of space. Below the sky, the waters gathered peacefully, waiting for their next purpose. Above the earth, clouds began to form, their soft white shapes floating in the new atmosphere. The sky would soon become a home for countless creatures, but for now, it was empty, a space full of potential. God looked at the sky he had made, and once again, he saw that it was good. Evening came, and morning followed, the second day. On the third day, the world still looked very different from the one we know today. There was light, there was a sky, and there were waters, but something was missing. The land. God decided it was time to bring dry land into being. "Let the waters under the sky be gathered together," God said, "so that dry ground may appear." And at once, the waters began to move and shift. They rushed away from certain places, revealing great stretches of dry land. Mountains and valleys began to form, deserts and plains appeared, and rivers carved their way through the earth. The waters that were gathered together formed the great seas, lakes, and oceans, which shimmered in the sunlight. God named the dry land earth, and the gathered waters he called the seas. But the land was still barren. It was beautiful, with rich soil and firm foundations, but there was no life on it yet. So, God commanded the earth to bring forth plants and trees. "Let the land produce vegetation," he said. "Let there be plants that bear seeds and trees that bear fruit." And almost immediately, the land responded to God's command. Tiny green shoots began to rise from the ground, and soon, the earth was covered in lush grass, tall trees, and all sorts of plants. There were flowers of every color, their petals soft and fragrant. There were fruit trees laden with apples, oranges, pears, and grapes. Bushes sprouted berries of all kinds, and vines began to twist their way through the forest. The earth was alive with new life. The plants and trees swayed in the breeze, their leaves catching the sunlight, growing taller and stronger with each passing hour. God looked at this new, green world, and he saw that it was good. The land was no longer empty, but full of life, preparing for what was to come. Evening came, and morning followed, the third day. On the fourth day, God turned his attention to the sky once more. There was light in the world, but it didn't yet have a home. The time had come to place the great lights in the sky, so that day and night would have their markers. Let there be lights in the sky to separate the day from the night, God said. Let them serve as signs to mark seasons, days, and years. So, God made two great lights. First, He created the sun, a blazing ball of fire that would light the earth by day, giving warmth and light to every living thing. The sun was radiant, shining down on the earth with its golden rays, making the plants grow and filling the sky with light. Next, God created the moon, a gentle, glowing light to watch over the earth during the night. It wasn't as bright as the sun, but its silver light brought calm and peace to the world as it reflected the sun's glory. But God didn't stop there. He also made the stars, countless in number, tiny pinpricks of light scattered across the vast sky. They twinkled and shone, like diamonds set against the black velvet of the night. The sun, the moon, and the stars filled the sky, and the earth now had its rhythm. There would be daytime for work and play, nighttime for rest and reflection. The seasons would change, and time would flow as God had intended. Once again, God looked at what He had made, and He was pleased. It was all very good. Evening came, and morning followed, the fourth day. On the fifth day, the earth was still quiet. There were plants and trees, rivers and seas, but no movement, no sound of life. So, God decided it was time to fill the waters and the skies with living creatures. Let the waters teem with living creatures, God declared, and let birds fly above the earth across the sky. And with that, the oceans, lakes, and rivers were suddenly filled with life. Fish of all kinds swam through the waters, their scales shimmering in the sunlight. Dolphins leaped and played in the waves, while enormous whales glided through the deep, singing songs that echoed through the seas. There were creatures of every size and shape, from tiny minnows to great sharks and octopuses with their many arms. In the sky, birds began to soar. Eagles spread their mighty wings, soaring high above the mountains. Small sparrows and robins darted between the trees, their feathers bright and colorful. Parrots with brilliant colors flew over the jungles, while penguins waddled along the shores. The air was filled with the sound of chirping, singing, and the rush of wings. God blessed the creatures of the seas and the skies, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the waters and let the skies be full of life." And so, the oceans teemed with fish, and the skies were alive with birds. Creation was growing, and life was flourishing. God looked at the waters, the skies, and the creatures He had made, and He was pleased. It was all good. Evening came, and morning followed, the fifth day. On the sixth day, God turned His attention to the land. The earth was already filled with plants, but now it was time for living creatures to roam its surface. Let the land produce living creatures, God said. Let there be animals of all kinds, livestock, wild animals, and creatures that crawl on the ground. And so, the land became alive with movement. Herds of cattle and sheep grazed in the fields, while wild animals like lions, tigers, and elephants roamed through the forest. The earth was filled with creatures both large and small. Squirrels scurried up trees, rabbits hopped through meadows, and tiny insects crawled along the ground. There were animals of every kind, from the majestic giraffes that stretched their necks to eat the leaves of tall trees, to the playful monkeys swinging from branch to branch. But God wasn't finished yet. He had one more creation in mind, His most special creation of all. Let us make human beings in our image, God said, to rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the animals of the land. So God created the first human beings, a man and a woman. He made them in His own image, which meant they could think, reason, create, and love, just like Him. He gave them the ability to speak, to care for the world, and to live in harmony with all the creatures He had made. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and take care of it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and every living creature that moves on the ground." And so, humanity was born, placed on the earth to live in harmony with all of God's creation. The man and woman stood in awe of the world around them, the towering trees, the sparkling oceans, the vast skies filled with birds, and the earth teeming with animals. Everything was perfect, peaceful, and new. God had made this world for them to enjoy and care for. God gave the man and woman everything they needed. Look, he said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the earth and every tree that has fruit with seeds in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the animals of the earth, the birds of the sky, and every living creature that moves along the ground, I give every green plant for food. The world was in perfect balance. There was no hunger, no fear, and no suffering. Every plant, every tree, every animal had a purpose, and humanity was given the responsibility to protect and nurture it all. The man and woman, filled with joy, understood that they were a part of something greater than themselves, a beautiful and intricate creation woven together by the hands of God. God looked at everything He had made, the light and darkness, the sky and seas, the land and trees, the animals and humans. He saw that it was not just good, it was very good. Everything was as it should be, in perfect harmony. After 6 days of creating, shaping, and filling the earth with life, God's work was complete. The world was now a vibrant, living masterpiece, filled with wonders beyond imagination. On the 7th day, God rested. Not because He was tired, but because His creation was perfect and complete. God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, setting it apart as a special day of rest. This day would be a reminder for all of creation, humans, animals, and even the earth itself, to take time to pause, reflect, and enjoy the beauty of life. It was a day of peace, a time to appreciate the gifts of creation and to remember the Creator who had given life to everything. For a time, the world was exactly as God had intended. The man and woman lived in harmony with the earth and all its creatures. They walked through the garden God had made for them, enjoying the fruits of the trees and the shade of the leaves. The animals roamed freely, unafraid and full of life. The sun shone brightly during the day, and the moon and stars guided the night with their soft glow. The man and woman had everything they needed, and they were filled with wonder and gratitude. They had been given the responsibility to care for this incredible world, and they took their role seriously, treating the land, the animals, and each other with love and respect. The beauty of creation was not just in the things that could be seen, the majestic mountains, the vast oceans, or the bright stars, it was also in the relationships between all living things. Everything was connected, and everything had its place. The sun gave warmth and light, the rain nourished the earth, the plants grew and provided food, the animals played their part in keeping the land healthy. And the humans, made in God's image, were the caretakers of this grand design, living in peace and joy. As the days and nights passed, the man and woman began to explore the wonders of their world. They learned about the plants and animals, giving each one a name. They discovered the sweetness of fruit, the coolness of water, and the warmth of the sun on their faces. They laughed together, sang with the birds, and marveled at the beauty of the world around them. In this perfect garden, time seemed to stand still. There was no rush, no fear, and no pain. The animals played peacefully, the trees bore fruit in abundance, and the streams flowed with fresh water. The man and woman understood that they were deeply loved by God, and they loved Him in return. They often spoke to God, walking with Him in the cool of the day, asking questions and learning more about the world they were meant to care for. And God was always near, guiding them, teaching them, and showing them the endless possibilities of His creation. The man and woman were not just stewards of the earth, they were a part of it. They shared in the joy and wonder of creation, living in perfect harmony with all that God had made. As the 7th day of rest continued, God's blessing on this day remained. It was a reminder of the perfect world He had created, a world where everything was good, where life flourished, and where humanity lived in peace with nature and with God. This day of rest became a promise for the future, a symbol of the peace and harmony that God intended for His creation. It was a time to reflect on the beauty of the world and to be thankful for the gift of life. The 7 days stood as a reminder that life was not just about work or toil, but also about rest, reflection, and joy. In this peaceful world, the man and woman lived with hope and anticipation, knowing that their lives were part of a greater plan, a plan woven together by the Creator Himself. The story of creation came to a close, but it was really just the beginning. The world was now full of life, beauty, and potential. The man and woman had been given everything they needed to thrive, and they were ready to embark on the greatest adventure of all, life itself. The sun would rise and set, the seasons would change, and the earth would continue to grow and flourish. The man and woman would care for the land, the animals, and each other, living in the perfect peace that God had designed for them. But this was only the beginning of their story. In the days and years to come, they would face new challenges, learn new lessons, and discover more about the world and about themselves. But no matter what happened, they would always have the memory of that perfect creation, a world made with love, where everything was good, and where they walked hand in hand with the Creator who loved them. And so, the story of creation continues, passed down from generation to generation, a reminder of the beauty and wonder of the world, and the love of the God who made it all. Wait, don't go yet. If you know you love God and you love this video, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comment section below and share this video to your friends and family. Don't watch alone guys, share it. Cause you know sharing is caring and caring is loving, and of course loving is godly, and most importantly please subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you in my next video, bye.